What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty here with another episode of Steelers Touch and Under. We are talking the best of the rest. That's right, the best of the rest from my top 75 players across all 3 days of the NFL draft. Wanted to talk to you about those guys that are left on the board that the Steelers could be considering, or if you're a fan of another team and you haven't been watching this, that any other team could be considering for the rest of the NFL draft as we go through rounds 4 to 7. All right, so want to talk through, as I said, my top 75 guys, the guys that are left, the guys that I think are worthy of the Steelers having a think about in terms of do they still draft these blokes. I think it's an important thing to look at. I have most of my top 75 guys go each year, so I thought it was a cool way to have a look at it. What I thought we'd do first, though, is have a look at the top 30 visits tracker for the Steelers, the guys that counted against them. Now, there's a lot of these blokes have gone, right? When we look through this list, Shedeur Sanders hasn't, Carl McCord hasn't, but most of these blokes, as we go down the list, all gone, all off the board. Now, I think there are about 5 guys I counted that are still available out of this list. That doesn't mean the Steelers are only going to draft guys that went and visited them, but there's some interesting names, like JJ Peggy's out of Ole Miss, I know I butchered his name there, Josh Farmer out of Florida State. We'll go through my top 75 guys, but the guys that are left on the board. But there's definitely a few guys that did visit that are still available on the list, including a running back that I think is actually a really interesting prospect when we talk through him as well. So I will go in there. There's also a lot of Daniel Jeremiah's top 150 as well. But let's go into my list of top 75 guys. So when you look at that list, everyone in red is people that have been taken. Obviously, the highlighted green 2 blokes in Caleb Johnson, who went today when I'm recording this, and Derek Harmon are there in green. There is one bloke in orange, Isaiah Bond, with the stuff that we have heard about him in the last sort of 48 hours to a week. Nah, off the list. Talent, he's a Longhorn. People know that I support Texas Longhorns, but no, off the list. See you, mate. Out here. Adios, amigos. Goodbye. All right, so there's no one left from the guys that I said are worthy of a day 1 pick for the Steelers. No surprise. There are, however, 11 guys from day 2. From Lathan Ransom, the good safety out of Ohio State, to RJ Mickens, the safety out of Clemson, Q Robinson or Quindarius Robinson, the outside linebacker, I should say, offensive linebacker, outside linebacker. He's there as well. Alabama. Elijah Huzzy is still there. Now, that's not a surprise. You probably see him go in the 4th, early 5th out of North Carolina. But I'd seen some stuff on tape that I thought if you went the back end of day 2, it wouldn't be terrible. But actually, you're getting him probably on where he was always projected to go. Everyone's going to be talking about Shedeur Sanders. I didn't have a day 1 grade on him. People that caught my original top 75 video, you'll know that I I reluctantly put a day 2 grade on him, but I didn't really have one there. I think he's going to go where the talent deserves. Put the attitude aside. Interesting that Cam Scatterbo, Devin Neal is still available. Jaden Blue is available. Now, Jaden Blue is again out of the Longhorns. He is a more sort of a smaller, faster running back, just under 200 pounds. So similar to actually like a bit when Kenneth Gainwell came right out as well. Now, Jaden Blue is interesting because he actually had a draft visit with the Steelers. The Steelers could still add to that room with moving on Cordell Patterson. If Jaden Blue starts sinking late, he's a guy that can be a really good change of pace back and could really round out a very strong hit and very cheap when you consider rookie deals for Caleb Johnson and Jaden Blue if he came in, running back room. So don't sleep on them going back into the well there if he's hanging around in the 5th. Gunnar Helm is there. Gunnar Helm is a tight end out of the Longhorns. Really, he could probably needs to improve his blocking when he goes into the pros. But this is a guy that's 101 on Daniel Jeremiah's top 150 prospects. He's going to be available there in the 4th round as well. Now, tight end might be not something that a lot of people are looking at, but Arthur Smith offense, a run game, this guy's pretty helpful, and he does make big catches in the intermediate passing game when needed on key downs too. He's caught some good touchdowns last year with Quinn Ewers in key games against top opposition. So don't sleep on Gunnar Helm. Jalen Conyers is a 260 to 270 pound tight end as well. Don't sleep on him too. He had some massive plays last year. Again, a tight end that's available that I put him into day 2 because I thought a team might take a flyer on him. But I had and I think I mentioned this when I did the top 75 show a couple of days ago. I had him like between day 2 and day 3. And then Miles Frazier out of LSU, he sort of sunk a little bit as there was a run on tackles. He's a guard. I've said before the draft process, I think the Steelers need a guard. Go grab him if he takes your fancy. Then if you look across to the day 3 guys, when we look at those blokes, Will Howard, the cornerback, Nick Nash, the wide receiver. I really like Nick Nash out of San Jose State. I think he's a fantastic player. I also like the possession downs. He will do something different to Pickens, who it looks like I think they'll keep Pickens at this stage, and Metcalf, and it'll be something different as well to Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin. So I really would like to see them bring in Nick Nash. I think they might go another position first, but Nick Nash, do not sleep on Nick Nash. I think he's gonna be a really solid pick out of day 3 in this year's draft. Then you got Torrey Horton, who I had slipping. I remember it was a pains not to put him into day 2. But I had a day 3 grade on him, but I didn't think he was worth it. And so I didn't end up, I stuck with my gut and I didn't put him in day 2. And lo and behold, he's there on day 3. But he could be value on day 3. So I think it's interesting to see where Torrey Horton goes. But he's had quite a fall as well when you look at him from the pre-draft process. You've got DJ Giddens, the big linebacker out of, I think it's a TCU, with Giddens, Kansas State, both purple. But yeah, you've got him available. I don't think, given you've got Caleb Johnson, it makes sense to go get Giddens, but again, if they want to go double up on the big backs, not the worst thing in the world. Quinn Ewers is there as a Longhorns fan. I'd probably rather Will Howard. I think there's more upside there, but that's just me. Tommy Mellett's there. He probably goes undrafted, but he's a small little darty guy who had 31 touchdowns last year and 2 interceptions for Montana State. I watched him play a game when I was in Montana last September, and yeah, he's quite a cool guy. Rushed for a 41 TD, for example. It's pretty a bit of an enigma there. I think he offers more than Oladoku did when the Steelers got him. So if he is a 7th on him, so no one else grabs him, go for it. You got Mitchell Evans there, and Price gone two good tight ends. Jake Majors is probably one of the top center prospects in this draft. It's a weak center draft, but as I mentioned when I did the top 75 video, you want someone to back up Frazier late. You could get a steal there with Jake Majors. He's a solid guy, better in the run game than the pass game. But yeah, like take a fly on that guy, you could get very cheap at center for several years, and you just develop him. And then we get into the defensive guys. So I've got Huzzy there again, as you can see. Colin Oliver, the linebacker, who's played more outside, shifted a little bit inside. I think that'd be a bit of a luxury pick with the Steelers. I'd rather prefer they invest there, in the undrafted guys. And Colin Oliver could go undrafted when you're at this point. JJ Pegues, as we talked about, out of Ole Miss, who played DT and fullback, and I think he had snaps at a couple of other spots as well. He's still available for day 3. He could be interesting if the Steelers want to double up there. It would make sense with needing a nose, still probably needing a traditional nose. Then you got Kobe Bryant and Mello Dotson out of Kansas, 2 cornerbacks. Kobe Bryant's probably projects higher with more upside, but there's 2 guys available. We talked about Huzzy. Denzel Burke is a decent corner who could have gone on day 2 from Ohio State. Don't sleep on him. I could see the Steelers going there to do Ohio State well to get deeper at corner. Joshua Farmer, if the Steelers and Deion Walker. So if the Steelers want to go double up on the interior defensive line, you go get one of these blokes. Deion Walker is the big 6'7", 350-pound, I think he is, DT out of Kentucky that was talked a lot about at the Senior Bowl. And then you've got Joshua Farmer, who's more athletic out of Florida State. Some good stats there. Some people had him going on the back end of day 2, slips to day 3. He could be the Steelers' 4th round pick there. He could be. Then you got 2 linebackers. I thought Stutzman might go back in a day 2, especially when you had the Browns pick Cameron Weishman out of UCLA. But Kobe King is a big linebacker, more of a Vince Williams type, so Atlanta Roberts type out of Penn State. Being local, you could see him. Jack Kaiser on my top 75 was a linebacker that I had there more for the coverage set of circumstances. And then Kyton Crawford, the safety. But considering you got Mickens and Ransom on the board, I'd be going either one of those blokes well before you go Kite and Crawford. So of my top guys left, there's 34 players left now, top 75, so it's just under half. 11 guys from day 2, 23 out of 27 from day 3. So I take that a bit of credit there because I put 34 in day 2 because the Steelers had one pick. I thought they'd move up or move back into the draft and get one there. Always have heavier day 2 because there's guys that bridge day 2 and day 3. But from my perspective, like this show, I feel pretty accurate about where I graded people. None of the number one guys are left. Most of those guys went, and there was only 2 left going into day 2. Literally 23 out of 34. 2/3 of the guys on day 2 went, and there's a lot of guys there. And then most of the guys that I had projected on day 3 are still there. Tyler Shock was always probably going to go on day 2. It's just the grade I gave him. Wyatt Millam, I wanted to put in day 2, but I felt like enough guys. There was a run on tackles, so not surprised to see him go. And I think they're going to play him inside anyway, but not surprised to see him go on day 2. Charles Grant, again, I had that an early day 3 grade on him, but he went I think it was the third last pick. It was a compensatory pick from at the back end of the third. So again, feel pretty good about that grade as well. So, and Pat Bryant went early. I'm kind of not surprised he made it into day 2, but I thought he'd be started day 3. Again, where he's projected on some of the rankings, if you went and got a guy like Nick Nash, you'd be pretty happy with him. So these are my top 75 guys left, the best of the rest in my sense of the word. I've had a bit of luck the last few years with best of the rest guys like Corey Trice and Ryan Watt. I didn't have Ryan Watson. Corey Trice drafted, for example. Trey Norwood as well. So they're just guys I remember off the top of my head. But yeah, best of the rest. Interesting to see where the Steelers go. There's one bloke though, Ajani Cornelius, who I couldn't fit within the 75 that I did have on day 3. Given that Charles Grant and Millam are gone, if the Steelers wanted to get another tackle, he could be an interesting bloke that still gets drafted by the Steelers, particularly played at Oregon as well. So keep your mind out for him. Not on my top 75, but definitely someone that factored into the equation for me. But you let me know in the comments, is there a bloke on this list that you really want to bring in? Maybe it's Shadow Sanders. Is there a bloke not on this list that you're really high on that Steelers could still go get on the final day of the draft? You let me know in the comments. Really excited for day 3 of this draft. The draft's looking good. We've got 2 blokes that have been drafted at exactly the 2 blokes I wanted at those 2 positions and on those days. So feel really good about that. Keen for a big day 3. Maybe we see a couple more guys go off the list. But I said, let me know in the comments, who do you want? And as always, go Steelers.